This week's project was inspired by the American painter Charles Demuth. He was an artist in the early 20th century, and he dabbled a bit in Cubism. Cubism is a style of art in which it was sort of made abstract or from the artist's imagination. Cubist artists often looked at a subject from different views, and they used a few strategies. They showed the same subject from different angles to try to show the full object, all the different sides to it. But they would draw and paint those things, all those different views and all the different sides, on top of each other in the same composition. They also tended to reduce things to simple shapes to represent the different pieces of it. And so the end result was something that looked a little bit fragmented, a little bit mixed up, because of the mixed perspectives and simplified shapes. The name Cubism actually came from a critic who said it looked like it was just a bunch of cubes put together to make the design. Now, one of Demuth's most famous paintings is called I Saw the Figure 5 in Gold from 1928, and this was inspired by, something he observed, a fire truck on the street, and he saw the number 5, and we can see that clearly repeated within this. We can also see that sort of Cubist influence and that fragmentation within the composition. But I also had a connection as I looked at this to Jasper Johns, another American artist, a contemporary artist, who has done a lot of things with numbers. He made compositions of numbers 0 through 9 layered on top of each other. And so that was something that was sticking out in my mind also as I created my sample project here. I was thinking about how we can make something that looks a little bit abstract using numbers. Although if you don't want to use numbers, you could use letters or other symbols, but layering them on top of each other. So I started off by drawing a big number 7. 7's my favorite number, so it seemed like a good starting point. And then I put another big number 6 on top of that, and then the number 5, and then 4, 3, 2, 1. But the big idea here is I'm drawing those numbers as shapes that are overlapping. I'm not leaving them as lines for the numbers. I'm drawing them as shapes. You could choose to use numbers, letters, symbols like hearts, stars, but what I want you to do is make a collection of overlapping shapes. And where the shapes overlap, they're going to create new shapes inside of there. So that as we go to color, we can take our time, color one individual shape at a time, one little piece at a time. And we're going to see the colors change as those shapes overlap. And the shapes start to change and new shapes take hold in the spaces where they overlap. We'll have different colors in those spaces as well. Now, with this project, I chose to use a mixed media approach. I used markers and crayons. I chose to use markers to color in the spaces inside of each of those shapes. And then I used crayons to color the negative space. That's the space around the shapes that I was drawing. So I'm using the markers to make bright, bold colors inside of each of the shapes that are created where my numbers were drawn and where they're overlapping. And I tried to use each color a few times on different parts of the composition so that I am repeating the same color in different areas throughout my picture. That helps to sort of balance it out, spread the colors around, and unify the composition by having the same color repeated in different parts of that composition. Now, after I have gone through all of the different colors with the markers, and I've colored in each individual teeny tiny little shape one at a time. You'll notice I'm not coloring across any of the shapes to get like 5 red shapes in a row. I'm doing each one individually. Then I'm going to move on to coloring, as I said, the negative space, the space around the shapes that I was drawing. I chose to use crayons because crayons are going to be a little bit softer, and that's going to help to make the bright, bold colors of the marker pop, make it stand out, and keep the emphasis on the numbers and those shapes that make up my primary focal point. Now, you can make what you would like. I'm not going to set a specific number of shapes that you have to have, but I would like to see you make a design that is abstract using several different shapes formed by either numbers, letters, or symbols that are overlapping, going on top of each other. So as they overlap, they create new shapes, and then take your time coloring in each individual shape in your composition.